Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're going to deal with the last topic for unit number 3, creative and critical thinking in communication. So, there are two words over here, creative thinking and critical thinking, uh, while you are communicating. Right? So, how is it important to us? So, if you see examples of groundbreaking theories or inventions that have been made, they've actually been made through a combination of creative and critical thinking skills. There are different approaches that people took uh, to create and make something new. Remember, the basics or the foundations always remain there, but taking the basic concepts as the foundation stones and then moving forward in a different direction or in a different perspective is what gained them the newness or the innovation that they were able to make. It does not mean that if one is only a creative thinker one can achieve, and one is if one is only a critical thinker then one can achieve newness or innovation. It should be a synergy, which means a perfect balance or a combination between things which we need to blend, we need to mix, and then we have to come up with an idea which is new, comparatively new. Now, when you apply new creative ideas and when you apply critical thinking to your subject area, it will actually enrich your learning experiences. At times, creative and critical thinking can lead to solutions to questions which people have not thought. And innovation is actually a solution to a problem which nobody found before, a solution which nobody had found before, and now because you had a different perspective towards that problem, you were able to generate a solution which nobody saw. Right? Remember, wherever, or you can recall instances where people made great inventions. What were these inventions all about? All these inventions, discoveries, and innovations which people made were actually their way of thinking differently from the rest. You are very well aware that engineers are also called problem solvers, people who solve problems and make human existence more comfortable. So, that is why specifically engineers need to have both critical and creative skills, because it is one of the basic portions of their education and learning to innovate, to make human life more comfortable, more sustainable. Now, let's first see what do we mean by creative thinking. Creative, to create a solution, right? It's actually about imagining and applying imagination to find a solution. What could be the possible different ways of solving the same mathematical problem? Now, we have all gone through this phase where there is just one problem and there are different ways of finding a solution or an answer to that problem. So, how did people come to that knowledge? They were actually looking at the problem from a different, fresh, and new perspective. We all have heard the word out of the box. Out of the box thinking is what led to out of the box thinking is what led to the solution of that particular problem by one particular person, right? So why do we call it out of the box? The solution that you have thought of could be as unacceptable as possible. Could be something when people will say, no, this is never going to work. You are such a dumb person. Why would you think of such a solution to this problem? There is no such solution, right? But the solution works. But the way actually that you thought of works. When such things happen, it is termed as creative thinking. Thinking differently from the crowd, thinking differently from what has already been thought about, or in the way in which something has been thought about. Right? That is what we know as creative thinking. Remember, all innovators in the first step of their innovation, they were never accepted by people. Okay, in the very first step of innovation, they were never accepted. Okay, he is a mad person. Let's say when people dreamt of men flying, right? So they said, how can men fly? That's not the basic or the natural instinct towards human beings. It's not there. They cannot. Right? How can they? So whenever inventors were questioned, a new invention was on its way. Okay. In the first step, when you look at the solution, you will think that this solution might not work. Is it even possible? It's not that comfortable. Right? So it's actually the generation of one's new idea in your area of profession. Right? Had there been no new ideas, things would come to a standstill. Okay, it would come to a position where everything becomes stagnant. So new ideas actually generate and carve new ways, right? Becoming more comfortable. Let's say mobile phones. Let's say telephones, basically. In the initial time, what was the only purpose? The purpose of the telephone was to communicate and talk with people, connect with people. Had it been still there, we would have had those dialer telephones at our place. Some of us might have seen it in our young days at our home. The obsolete landlines that we call. Right? We used to run and pick up the phone when it rang. In the neighborhood, if somebody had a landline, the person was considered, very modern. Had it been just confined to that landline, we would not have been using this modern technology, mobile phones. And within the mobile phones, also, every time there's a new update, it's not staying stagnant. Usually, when you are thinking creative, it is actually a combination of your imagination, the concept that you have, and the assessment, and then communicating your ideas. You have an idea, you keep with yourself, right? Somebody else will communicate, and then you feel that I actually had the very same idea. So if you do not communicate, the idea remains with you only. You need to communicate, you need to move forward, you need to come and talk about it. That's what critical thinking is all about. Sorry, creative thinking is all about. So what are the objectives of creative thinking? The objectives of creative thinking are to think and conceive an advanced idea, an idea which is way before its time. An idea which is way before its time. It also offers advanced features into what already exists. The way I gave you the example of telephone and mobile phones. Next, it also, the objective of creative thinking is to imagine things from different dimensions, and most essential, to improve the standard of living of a society. Right? By society, we mean every human being. Okay. Now, what are the prerequisites of creative thinking? By prerequisites, we mean the basic eligibility. The first prerequisite that is required is an imaginative ability. By imaginative ability, we mean to say the methods in which you can Visualize. You can visualize. Okay, if I want to have a particular website, my website would look like this whenever I make it. That's called visualization. When you close your eyes, you can picturize it. Next prerequisite would be open mindedness. Now, what is open mindedness? I don't accept this idea, okay? This nobody has ever written in the book. Had Newton thought of it in that way, we might not have ever thought about the rules and regulations or laws of gravity. When I say open mindedness, it means your readiness to accept that not so good looking idea. The readiness of a person to look at that not so good looking idea. Right? Initially, you are reluctant. The idea will work, will not work, does not look good. Nobody has ever thought like this. But that's the point. Because nobody has ever thought like that, you don't have a solution to it. It's very simple. So, open mindedness means your eagerness to accept what is different. Your eagerness to see, okay, this is different. I can have a scope in this. Next, observation skills. Now, observation skills are really important. Why? Remember, everybody who has made an innovation has observed, has looked at things, has studied things before making statements. Whosoever has made inventions, if you look into books of history, you will find that they made observations. Let's say, how did the idea of making aeroplanes or making humans fly come to the person's mind, come into the mind of a human being? It came from the concept of birds flying. It came from the concept of birds flying. Simple. So, observation skills, you should be keen enough to observe. Just sit and observe. Look at things, think about it, right? Next prerequisite would be seeking opportunity by looking at things from various angles. Now, what if I do this? What if I do that? Point one, two, three, four. You should just not have one perspective or one angle for a thing. You should have different perspectives. Then you have to also look into the need. See, what I'm inventing, is it really necessary? Has somebody not thought similar? Next, readiness to try something new. You need to be ready to try, to explore, be adventurous enough to look into things which are new. Analytical skills, you should be able to analyze. By analyze, we mean if you have solution A, what would be the possibilities? If you take up solution B, what would be the possibilities? Next is furthering existing ideas. By furthering, we mean you have to expand the idea which already exists. As I said, you cannot remove the basics. Basics are actually the foundations. So old theories lay foundation for the new ones. You cannot eliminate the entire old theory. Right? And then being critical for oneself. Now, please, because I have made it, I am perfect in sort of that, you become your own critic. By becoming your own critic, you have to be non prejudiced. At that particular moment, you need to be non prejudiced. When I say non prejudiced, what I mean is, because I have made it, it is nice. I cannot say it has a mistake, right? A person who is non prejudiced or non judgmental would not think that this is my invention, so I cannot find faults, would actually find faults. Okay, this is not correct. Accounting was something different. When I assumed, the assumption was different. Now this is not working. So I need to make a change. Okay, when you self criticize yourself on your own, you'll lead to improvements. Are you a creative thinker? We've got a little nice, fun little riddle over here which you need to solve. So, what's the answer? It's more powerful than God. It's more evil than the devil. The poor have it. The rich need it. If you eat it, you'll die. What am I? It's a nice little riddle. So I'm giving you 3-4 minutes of time to think. We've already got a quick answer, but I need you to think differently. How many of you could think about it? Let's take 2-3 minutes of thinking time, and by the time you can also draft your answers in the chat box. One quick answer that we have got is time. Okay, now when we have one answer, we'll not be able to fit anything else. Now let's see how many of you would ignore what the answer is and think on your own, right? 2-3 minutes given to you. We've got a set of three different answers: time, heart, and nothing. We'll wait 1 or 2 minutes more. Fine, we'll move ahead. Uh, some of you have guessed it correctly. Answer is nothing to the reason. Now, wherever it's it, you can replace it with the word nothing and you can have it. See, why is time and heart not correct? here. But if you eat time, will you die? And if you eat heart, will you die? Right? That's why nothing would be the correct answer. So thinking in a very creative manner where things fit in. Now let's look at critical thinking. It's actually the ability of somebody to take a decision in a moment of crisis. It is like using resources that are practically available and using those resources in some other manner. Or you can also term it as the optimum usage of resources. Critical thinkers are curious creatures. No, they are a combination of being curious and impractical at the same time. By impractical, we mean to say they don't know whether it will work practically or not, but they'll be curious. Let's find out, kind of a people. Now, while encountering a problem, a critical thinker would not panic. He or she would remain quite calm, unlike the ordinary situations, right? When they are in the ordinary situation, they are calm. When they're in a panic mode or in a crisis, then also they are calm and they think their way out. They perceive, actually, they look at problems as opportunities and not problems. They look at problems as an opportunity and not as a problem. And that is what makes them different from the crowd. They take this chance or opportunity, they take this chance or opportunity to find innovative methods, to find innovative ways or innovative methods to solve that particular problem. For them, it is actually a chance to showcase their skills. They take it as a chance to showcase their innovative skills. And that is why critical thinkers differ from the crowd. For them, it's not a problem at all. Let's say some of us wake up at the very last moment. Okay, we have to do this now. What to do? Some of us would panic. What will I do now? What will happen? While some others would like, let's see what happens, right? Nothing more. What more can happen? Let's say there's a last moment change in the syllabus. Some of us would panic. Okay, some of us would panic. We would really panic. Oh my god, I've never studied for this topic. How come they have included this topic at the last moment? How can they make a change? We are just making an assumption, okay? We're taking a simple example and we're making an assumption. The last moment the syllabus changes. What to do? Some of us would panic. But the rest of us will think, we'll tackle it, okay? We have learned so many things, just few things change. At least if we are not able to solve the entire problem, we'll solve half the problem. At least half marks we will have. Or maybe we'll find a way of how to read for what is new in the syllabus. Right? They don't panic. They really don't panic. They try to look at it as a chance. Okay, now I have a chance to present. Now instead of the written test, you have to give a viva. You have to make a presentation. Wow, great. That's nice. Now I have a chance to present. I love making presentations. Or I have never made presentations in my life. It's good. I'll be able to make something. I'll do something. Right? So they'll find ways, they'll take this challenge as an opportunity and not as a challenge. What are the objectives of critical thinking? The objectives of critical thinking are to find out normal ways to bring solutions to problems that seem or come at an unexpected hour or time. That come at an unexpected hour or time. To utilize the resources that are available instead of saying that, I don't have this book, I don't have that book. Instead of saying that, such people will utilize what is available to the optimum level, maximum level. Moreover, such thinkers also anticipate. They not only look at the solution, but they'd also look at the problems that come along with it. Every solution is not 100% reliable, or every solution that you get cannot work 100%. At times the solution might not work. So what would be the other problems? At times the solution will work, but along with the solution working there would be other problems. So they would anticipate problems and solutions as well. They look at a problem in a logical pattern and think of a process, or think of a stepwise way of solving that particular problem. They don't go in a haphazard manner. They rather pick up, they would rather pick up a process or a stepwise manner of tackling the problem. Right? They would pick up a stepwise method of tackling the problem. They'll not tackle the entire problem at one go. Okay, they do it in tits and bits, in small packages, and then they work their way further. They also select the best possible choice that is made available to them, because they are going to utilize things which are available to the maximum. What are the prerequisites? The prerequisites over here are: you need to be curious enough, you need to also work till perfection. Here again, you need to have or be open minded, open to ideas that seem crazy in the beginning. Analytical things, skills, that is analyzing situations, looking at situations from different perspectives should be there. You should also have judgmental skills. By judgmental skills, mean to say that you need to judge things. You need to look at things and results, anticipate results before they come. So, how do we look at it? Reasoning abilities, practical skills, and having calmness and composure. Are you a critical thinker? Now, I've given you a few letters from the alphabet. You are supposed to make as many words as possible. Now, what is the simple rule is, you cannot, let's say you have one N, you cannot use N twice. How many words can you form from this bunch of 6 letters that I have given to you? So I'm giving you 5 minutes of time to note down as many words as possible that you can make. Please remember, you have to make meaningful words. Okay. Yes, the word can be little different, which we have not heard of, but you should know the meaning. If I ask you that, what is the meaning? You got a different word. Tell the class the meaning. You should know the meaning. Right? So I'm giving you 5 minutes of time to make as many words as possible from the given 6 letters over here. You are not allowed to repeat the letters. You see, every letter is present only once in the circles here. Right? So you need to use the letter once only. Once in each word. Okay? Not necessary you need use all the letters. Not necessary you uh, oh, you are a genius then. Fine, I've got some words, but I'll still give 5 minutes, because I'll tell you there can be more than 30 words made over here. Then can be 30. Okay, so I'm giving you 5 minutes and you can work on it. uh, in the excitement to write the words, I think you have not, you are ignoring what has been said to you. You can just use the bunch of letters that are given to you. You can just use the bunch of letters that are given to you. You can have x number of combination of the bunch of letters given. So in that case, earth is not a question. Earth could not be a word that can be formed from this bunch. Okay, but I can see you have got excellent skills. All of you have given me so many words, right? Let me showcase what I have. You have correctly guessed one word which was absolutely correct by everyone. That was genius. It's a six letter word using all the six letters. Actually, this is what I meant when I said to make words. You did absolutely fine. Okay, you did absolutely well. But critical thinking means end number of combinations. To speak to you in simpler terms, how many words, how many times you can match the G with the other letters? Remember probability over here. The probability of combinations that make up things over here. Right? So being a critical thinker. This is just one example. You may have many. Now, why is it important? Why is it important to have critical thinking and creative thinking in communication or while communicating? We all know that communication is defined as the exchange of information and ideas between individuals and groups of individuals. Now, when you add creative and critical thinking, it adds meaning. It adds more meaning to what you are saying. It actually adds meaning to what you are saying. Moreover, anybody can talk. Okay, we are not going here. Remember, we are not talking about somebody talking. Anybody and everybody talks. That's a basic ability with which we are born. We are here we are here trying to discuss how you can communicate. Talking and communication are two different activities. They are not one and the same. We use it as synonyms, but they are not synonyms. Remember, they are not synonyms. We use it, though we all have this tendency of using it as a synonym, but they are not synonyms. Why? Anybody can talk. Even a small child will talk. It will blabber. That's the word we use. The child will blabber in its own language when it has not learned to speak the language which the parents speak. It will blabber. But when do you communicate? You communicate, or communication takes place when it makes sense. And when do ideas make sense? When ideas are new. You cannot be talking about the old ideas all the time. Yes, as I said, you may take the old idea as a foundation to your new idea, but there has to be some newness. Critical and creative thinking are tools to build our idea in a sequence or logic. And effective communication, the basic of an effective communication is clear thoughts. Clear thoughts. Okay, you can only and only communicate in an effective manner if the thought process is clear. Remember, the process of communication, the very first step is encoding the message. It is never sending the message. The first thing or the first step that takes place over there when you are communicating, if you can remember and recall what we have learned in the process of communication, it always talks about the encoding part. Okay, the message to be encoded by the sender. So the sender has to be clear first in his mind that, okay, this is what I want to convey. Then and then he will use the medium. Then the selection of the medium and other stuff come into picture. Okay, or they come into existence. But the very step first should be clarity in the mind of the sender. Our life moves in and around improvisation. Now, when you start thinking creatively and critically, it actually helps to develop a healthy thinking, and it helps you to develop as a leader. It helps you to develop and emerge as a leader. Why is one human being different from another? I also make a presentation, my friend also makes a presentation, but her or his presentation is always very good. The teacher will always appreciate. I also used the same resources he or she used: internet, Wikipedia, or any other resources that are there. I also referred to the same reference books. But what makes them different is their way to clarify things, is their way to eliminate ambiguity. It actually helps anyone, not only a person to become a good leader, but also a person to become more efficient in his or her field. Critical and creative thinking will help a person to become better in his or her field. It also builds confidence, helps to boost confidence. And when you have creative critical thinking in communication, it delivers with maximum impact. Your message will be delivered to the audience with maximum impact. It is actually one of the keys to convince the audience out of the box methods. Critical and creative thinking are also considered to be the drivers of effective communication. They drive the communication process into an effective manner and into a clear manner. Let's say nobody ever thought of, let's say if somebody never thought of making a PowerPoint or developing PowerPoint, how would we be making our presentations? Just by speaking. It would seem plainly that somebody is saying something and I'm listening to it. But when you are making a presentation, people pay more attention. Oh, look at the graphics he has used. Oh, look at the fonts that have been used. Oh, very good usage of what is available in PowerPoint, what they have already given to us. Right? So it's actually driving your communication, making your communication more better. Fine. So let's have one small question before we close this session. Effective communication starts with a clear thought process. What do you think? Is the statement true or false? Excellent. Quick and excellent answers. The statement is true. You're all correct. Absolutely correct. So, do we have any questions here for this topic, creative and critical thinking? Excellent. So, with this, we complete unit number 3. We have almost covered 50% of our syllabus. Okay, we have completed 50% of our syllabus. Now, as per our ritual, first thing that we'll do is we'll complete our quiz. Just in 1 minute, I'll be sharing with you the quiz link. There you go. You have the quiz link for today's lecture. You may start attempting your quiz now. Excellent. Everybody has completed the quiz. That's great to see. Now, with this, we complete unit number 3. Uh, Lab batch B and C. There is one topic that we have in the lab, and we'll be continuing in this week, and we'll be finishing it off. So, next, when we have the lecture, we'll have unit test 3. Okay. The PPTs will be uploaded by today. Okay. So, we'll have unit test for unit number 3, and we have almost completed 50% of our syllabus. Right, one. I still keep on checking. Remember, it's not that I'm not checking, but most of you have still not uploaded things which you were asked to. I'll not list out everything which has been told, you already know it. So it's now time, please look into it. Things that you have kept incomplete, you have been assigned and you have not done it, please have a watch on it. I have been regularly checking things and I'm marking it as well. Remember, you have marks for things that you do, right? Please start working on it. Secondly, I have not shared the schedule because of the mid semester exam for your book review. I've already informed lab batch A, but for the other students as well, I've not deliberately shared the schedule for your book review presentation that I'll be sharing by Friday. It would be almost now. I have to change the schedule after the mid semester exam week. So don't worry about that part. I'll be making changes and I'll be sharing it with you soon. Right? So let's take the attendance for the day. Enrollment number 2, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12, 16, 17, 19, 24, 25, 26, 29, 31, 34, 35, 38, 44, 46, 7, 49, 50, 51, 53, 54, 56, 58, 65, 67, 68, 69, 72, 73, 82, 85, 89, 91, 96, 100, 101, 102, 103, 106, 108, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 125, 126, 131, 134, and 144. I'll call out the absent numbers so that we don't have any doubts. Okay, so it's easier. So absent number is enrollment number 31, 46, is present. Okay. 96, 134 and 144. 46 I've marked you present. Okay. And thank you, class. Please prepare for the unit test, unit number 3, in the next session. Thank you. Have yourself a very nice day. Thank you, class.